Wheeling Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, May 25th is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bonova.
Here.
Commissioner Creech.
Present.
Commissioner Dorban.
I'm here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Powers is here, and Chairman Rafato.
Here. Brooke, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
There is no one that signed in for citizen concerns and comments. Number 6, consent item. Docket number SCB 1722, First Colonial Commons, 820 South Wheeling Road, appearance approval of a freestanding sign. Docket number SCBA 1724, Sweet, 1568 Lake Cook Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. And docket number SCBA 17-25, Fox Deluxe Foods, 275 East Hintz Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Johnson. Mr. Secretary?
Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Bonova.
Yes.
Commissioner Creech.
Yes.
Commissioner Powers votes yes. Chairman Rafato.
Yes. For those that, just a side comment, for those that are in my age bracket, there used to be a beer my father used to like called Fox Deluxe beer back in the 70s, 60s and 70s. It was terrible. So, luckily, this is food. Items for review. Docket number PC 17-8, siding 1, windows 1, 322 North Milwaukee Avenue, minor site plan appearance approval of facade modifications. Brooke?
I would, no, nothing. I would just invite the petitioner to come forward.
Hi, my name is Jim Johnson with Siding 1 Window 1, 322 North Milwaukee. Good evening.
Great, thank you.
John Green.
So if you can explain what you're here for?
Sure. We got an approval for a TIF program to do work on a building at 322. And we originally showed shutters in the original sketch of the renderings. And since we finished the building, we didn't realize that they were even on there. We were hoping to be able to eliminate the shutters because it makes it look more residential than commercial. And I got a picture of it now, how it looks.
So I think in your package, you have modified renderings, and so I thought I would bring a current photo. It's a little more accurate or a little clearer depiction. So this is just a picture showing the original building and the proposal. The shutters, I realize these are dark pictures, the shutters we're referring to are alongside the windows in this proposal. This is a picture taken Sunday without the shutters in place. So I think what's in your package is this rendering with the shutters removed. This is an actual photo.
All right. Okay. Commissioner Johnson, I assume you don't have anything more to,
No, it's basically, we just feel it looks a little more residential.
Right.
And it looks really commercial, clean right now. And
Okay.
we like to try to keep it that way.
Commissioner Johnson.
Well, frankly, I thought it looked better with the shutters.
Well, if you looked at with the shutters are on some sliding windows and other windows that don't fit. The windows are large. The shutters are these little things, should at least kind of mirror, like it could go over a window to close it, So it looked kind of awkward too.
We held them up
Yeah.
to look
Yeah,
at it.
it just, we want to kind of keep it more commercial since it's on Milwaukee.
Do you also sell the shutters for
Well,
people who want them in their home, at their home?
yes, we do, but I believe it or not, in the last 4 years, people are going more without shutters.
We promote it.
If you look at
Okay.
more homes, they're going with heavier trim around the windows.
If a customer asks, we'll will satisfy their request, but we don't promote it. We don't have a line of shutters, for example.
I'm kind of torn because I feel that the shutters give it a little additional character.
Yes, it does. It makes it look more residential than commercial.
Well, there's nothing wrong with residential.
Well, it's on Milwaukee, we're just trying to keep it to look,
And it's our point of business.
you know.
Well, I'll see what my fellow commissioners have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powers.
I kind of agree with Commissioner Johnson. I kind of like the shutters, unfortunately or fortunately. For me, it actually like draws me when if I drive around Milwaukee. It's something that like brings the building out to me. So I kind of like the look and feel of that. And I mean, that's really the only comment. I'd like to see them stay.
Commissioner Blanova.
I agree, I would like to see them also.
Commissioner Dorban.
Thank you. I like it either way, but I understand what you're saying about without the shutters. I guess when I looked at the renderings, I was looking more in terms of what we're showing up here with the planting boxes in the front and the, and
Yeah, which is on this, which is still being done, which is being
right.
done.
And I just want to make sure that you're going to continue that piece of it with a lot of
Oh.
color and a lot of emphasis to bring that piece forward.
The landscaping is our final phase. Landscaping and parking lot are our final phase.
Okay, one of the questions I do have, though, would the shutters in any way void the facade grant? Does that have an effect on this
So
facade
this
grant?
would then be decided by the facade grant committee, who would determine if they're willing to reimburse, subject to the amended site plan and approval. And then they would obviously not reimburse for the shutters, but reimburse for everything else that is done per the approved plan and per the approved grant.
Okay, so that wouldn't void the grant, it just may take that piece of the amount of money out of it?
That's right.
Okay, okay. I understand what you're saying about making it look more residential, because I do agree with that. And it is a business rather than a residence, and people may misinterpret that, so I kind of understand that piece of it. I guess I just want to reiterate the fact that I want to make sure that the outside and the appearance of the planting beds will be really colorful and really, notable. That's,
Well, it's in the plan that we approved already.
I know it's in the plan,
Yeah, so
but
it's
I
got
just
a lot of
want to,
color and-
make sure that,
Oh, yeah.
I don't mind trading off, one for the other.
Yeah,
but I
oh, no,
will-
we don't plan on changing anything with the landscaping.
Okay, then I would be okay without the shutters.
Thank you,
Commissioner Creech.
I'm okay without the shutters.
thank you.
That's a vote, though. So originally, when you came before us, you planned on, and I haven't been to the back of the building, you planned on having different styles of siding up to show, to depict what you're selling. And part of that also was the shutters, and how it would look in a residential area. That was part of it. That was part of the whole plan.
Yeah, well, we
because-
did do that. We do have the siding.
Right,
that's the-
and the shutters were also part of that look. I mean, that was my understanding. That's why all of these, because if you wanted it to look like a business, we would have said, make it all the same siding, irrespective of what side you're on. And now, incorporated into that was the shutters. So now what you're coming back with is you're saying, well, we don't really want it to look residential because we're really a commercial building. So you're telling two different stories, because you have different kinds of siding, which we approved, which some commission members did not like. So we approved that, and it seems to me now that you're saying something different.
I'm just saying now that we have the building done and we're looking at it, the shutters, especially on those 3 sections, and the sliding windows in the brick portion of the building we redid with siding, doesn't look right. Even as a company who sells that, I wouldn't recommend a customer putting that on the sliders, because a sliding window is this big and these shutters are this small, and shutters are really supposed to line up with a double hung window. Doesn't line up with sliding windows and stuff. So, I mean, I guess at this point, it seems like you guys want to do the shutters, which is fine. We'll put the shutters up. But I'd like to at least eliminate that 2-section slider, which is in the same part of the front of the store, whereas the big picture windows are. Then there's that 2-section sliding window next to the door.
Immediately to the right of the door where the,
Like the top,
By the port, by the
ramp.
ramp?
Yeah. Then at least the back part of the house is more of a residential look, and the front part at least is consistent with, the look of the building, which is commercial. Because most residential homes don't look like the front of this building,
Right.
The back of it is obviously.
Are there, I just noticed they spelled Wheeling wrong
Yeah,
in the picture.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, we did.
yeah, I think I made note of that the first time
Yeah,
around.
these I think are the same pictures.
early rendering.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other comments?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Somehow our proposed picture looks a little different than proposed picture that they brought.
Yeah, probably. There's a number of drafts that were made.
What
Can-
is different?
The difference is in that,
The address.
yeah, just and
Oh, we
the
just
brick,
didn't put the
This
address.
is our earlier rendering.
and the brick
Yeah.
twice lower than what we see,
What's lower?
the brick borders.
Can I see that again?
Well, we didn't do the front yet.
I just want to confirm how it's going to be. Is it going to be
We wanted to look-
lower?
This is a,
Yeah, that part is twice lower than what we see.
Well, this isn't, we did not do it yet. This isn't done, it's just a rendering, this ain't a picture.
To clarify,
Just to clarify exactly
Yes.
how it's
Yeah.
going to be, it's going to be higher or?
Yeah, all it's gonna be like it is in the,
no, it's,
whatever we approved it at.
which is this one.
It's not the same.
What is it?
Your depiction here isn't the same thing. I mean, I think what Commissioner Bonova is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that this wall seems a little bit higher than what you're showing.
There is no
If I-
wall done yet.
if
I
you would-
understand. Hold on.
May I clarify?
Sure.
The picture that is shown above me, this is the approved plan, and what you're looking at, Commissioners, on your screen. This is the approved plan with the shutters, and the height of the landscape wall as shown here is the approved plan. Whatever they're showing on this board in front of you
Oh, this is the.
is not approved.
Right.
So don't take much stock
Okay.
in that.
Okay, just want to make sure.
This is the picture that we took on Sunday, which he hasn't had that work done with the wall yet.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Ms. Hester. Thank you.
I have nothing else.
Okay. When did you come before us for this? Was this in 2000 and,
It was the end of 2015.
end of 2015, and we're into 2017? So, and the landscaping is not done, is that going to be done in this, soon?
Yes,
You've
we
got it
have,
ready.
another date to finish it by for the TIF, and it will be done, the parking lot and the landscaping by then.
This, I don't want to hear that it's now too hot to plant any type of, to plant anything, because we've gone through a couple of seasons already where it could have been done, so, okay. So, do I hear a motion? I'm sorry.
There was we need clarification. The petitioner had suggested allowing the shutters except for the front window on the north facade closest to
The door?
the door.
Okay, so,
So there's two plans right now.
yeah.
Listen, I don't want to make this complicated. For some reason, a couple shutters have made this unbelievably complicated. So if you want them up there, we'll just leave it at that, and we'll let you get to more serious business.
Well, you're part of the village, sir, so we want to ensure that we do our due diligence. Jeez Louise. But you're right, it is something that should be simple. Commissioner Creech, are you okay with the existing, removing the shutters?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
And Commissioner Dorban, you are too, correct? And
Yes.
Commissioner Powers, would you like them to stay?
Yeah, I want it to stay, yeah.
Okay, and Commissioner Blanova
Yes, I would like to see that.
and
It is
Commissioner Johnson.
unpainted.
I'd like them to stay, but I can compromise with taking them off of that one window.
Okay, and would you, Commissioner Blanova, would you be okay with taking
Yes.
them off of that? Okay,
Yep.
and Commissioner Powers, Commissioner Dorban, would you be okay with, well, you're okay with
Yeah.
removing all the shutters? So I would be okay with removing those shutters from that first window also. So, how do we put that into condition?
I think it would be put into the motion, I think it would be put partially in the motion, and then a condition would need to be crafted that states that the approval is to modify the site plan to only remove the shutter in the sliding window. But
Or the single story as compared to two-story.
okay,
Right.
Might be a better way to say
single-story window? Single.
Yeah.
Okay.
Window.
the slider in a single story.
And actually, the item for review is an appearance approval of facade modification. So they are making a facade modification,
Yes.
except it's not the one that they want. So,
Well, you can make a motion
to approve.
to approve as, without any conditions.
Right,
That's one option.
but then it most likely will be a tie,
Okay.
and,
Then then you can make it with the motion
right,
as Ms. Maluzzi stated.
okay, whatever that was.
I'm drafting that right now.
Right. Give us a second and we will draft that.
Thank you.
You're just writing a condition that the proposal is modified.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're making a motion, Mallory, we're making a motion to,
Well, we can make a motion to approve with the condition as Brooke has drafted it, which,
So the motion
Mallory,
is,
could you speak so we
Sorry.
can hear you?
no problem. I said it would, I mean, I can have Brooke read the proposed condition, and then someone could make a motion to either approve as is or approve with the condition as Brooke has drafted it.
okay,
okay. So the condition is, the proposal is modified to only remove the shutters from the first floor window on the north facade that is closest to the door.
Yes.
right. So do I hear a motion to approve?
Yes, I will make that motion with that
Condition. of-
condition.
Right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Creech. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes,
Commissioner Creech.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorman,
Yes,
Commissioner Potter, we're voting with the shutters minus that one, correct?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Commissioner Bonova?
Yes.
Chairman Rafato?
Yes. We'll have something for you to sign. Thank you. I'm not touching anything.
Okay.
That's the- And if you could come and sign this. Right there. There. And here's your copy of exactly what we have. Thank you. Ready? Calling, excuse me, calling docket number PC 17-9, Korean Christian Reformed Church, 850 Jenkins Court, minor site plan appearance approval of facade modifications. Brooke, any?
I have no
Comments?
comments.
If the petitioner could come forward? Hello, if you could state your name and business address, please.
My name is Brian Seal, 850 Jenkins Court, Wheeling, Illinois.
Great. The podium is yours to explain what you're proposing to do tonight.
We're trying to add a steeple on the top of the existing church building.
So can you describe the steeple and what you,
Steeple is going to be 18 feet high, and then we're going to add a 3 feet cross on the top of it. And the material is going to be all fiberglass. And it's going to be being manufactured in Texas and delivered to our location.
great. Okay. Any other comments, sir?
Not really. The reason we are trying to do is we are trying to celebrate our church's 50th anniversary. So in Jubilee year, we decided to put up a steeple to celebrate our 50th anniversary, and also trying to increase the visibility of the church building. Our building is kind of tucked away from the main street of 83, so it is hard for people to locate our church. So maybe adding that steeple help other people to find our church better, and then also increase the visibility of the church in the neighborhood.
Great, thank you. I'll go to the petitioners. Commissioner Dorban.
Thank you. Many years ago, I was in that church, and I was impressed at how nice it looked. I made a couple of trips over there this last week, and I was extremely disappointed at the exterior and the maintenance. I found it very sad to see it because I knew what it was. I knew how it looked. I took a number of pictures, and I fail to understand how you've let it get to the condition that it is. I would like to hear why.
What particular aspect of the church building are you talking about?
I'm talking about the exterior altogether. I mean, the side yard, the front is bad enough, but I went around the back. There's trucks parked back there, parked back behind a locked fence. I walked over to the side yard. It's overgrown, it's weeded, it's terrible. The parking lot is horrible.
When did you come out?
Tuesday, I was there Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I was there Monday, and then
Okay.
I was there again Tuesday.
Okay.
And I fail to understand how you've let it get to this condition. And now you want to put a very attractive steeple on it, and I understand, I appreciate it, but if you want to celebrate your 50 years and you're hoping to get more people to come to your congregation, my recommendation would be that you need to clean up the outside and take care of it.
We're trying to take care of it. I think we're doing our best, but I'm not sure what particular area of the building you're talking
Okay,
about.
would you like to look at my iPad and I'll show you?
Commissioner Dorban, and I was there also, and your comments are right on point, but I believe we're here tonight to review the site plan and what they want to do with the steeple. I believe that the maintenance of that, which can be pointed out, and maybe we should put together a note from staff with that information, because I was out there also, of the appearance of that, and it would be done through Village, the property management,
The code enforcement.
the code enforcement that we have seen and that we should point out.
However, in the past, we've had other petitioners come forward with other conditions of their property not being in good condition, and we've also commented on that, and I intend to do that now.
The comments are fine, and I would never stop you from doing that, but I don't think it's necessary to show the pictures at this juncture. You can point them out as to where you feel there are deficiencies, and if you wouldn't have, I would have to the petitioner.
As far as maintenance is concerned, I think we have a plan to resurface the parking lot. That's part of our this year plan. So parking lot's going to be resurfaced. Other areas, it's not the best shape that it's been, but we're trying our best to maintain the building.
But Commissioner Dorban, could you be specific as to what you're talking? I think I know where you're going to go, but
We paint the building
right.
this year or last year. Last year, I think this year, last year, we paint the building. I don't know what, I mean.
Commissioner Dorban, you can continue.
I have nothing else to say.
Commissioner Creech.
The only concern I had was the height of the spire. Is that within our guidelines for that particular?
Yes, in fact, spires and other similar projecting features of buildings that are not, that cannot be habitated in, those are allowed to project over the maximum height of buildings in this district or any district.
We do have a height restriction though, correct?
But there's a building height restriction, but spires and
Total
cupolas do
height,
not
though.
have to abide by that restriction.
Okay. The only other thing was I noticed that there's no lighting on the top of this. Is that a problem? Considering it's so tall?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Those are my only concerns.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. I have no problem at all with the steeple. I am in agreement with Commissioner Dorban that you need to spend some effort on the exterior. And it's mostly the land, the building itself looks fine, I think, for the most part. But it's the landscaping and the parking lot, which you indicate you're going to take care of. I am curious about whose trucks those are in the back, and do they interfere with any fire department access? Can you,
That's one of the church members' van, and they're parked there. They park there overnight, and then they come in the morning and drive out and to work, and then they park.
okay. I was just wondering.
Or it's been that way for past about 2 or 3 months only. I don't think they're going to do it permanently. So if that's the real problem, then we probably ask them not to do it anymore. But if it's not, then we'll let them do it.
It's not a problem as far as approval of the steeple, as Commissioner Raffato pointed out. So that's all I had, sir.
Commissioner Blanova.
Just have one question. It's not too heavy for the roof?
Pardon me?
It's not too heavy. Was the inspection done or something like that? It's not too heavy for the roof? It's 450 pounds?
I don't think it is. The engineer, and they're going to be working on it, and they say it's okay for now, so.
So building condition is good enough to
Right, to
handle
hold
150
that, yes.
pounds. Then I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powers.
Thanks. Commissioner Creech brought up, you have no plans to light that? You have no desire to light the steeple at all?
As of now, no.
Okay. And I'm fine with the steeple, and I agree with my fellow commissioners about the condition, and I would hope you would work with staff to try to improve it.
Okay.
So that's it. Thank you.
So that church at one time, and this goes to the condition, outside condition that we have seen from the landscaping. The east side of the building, which is fenced in, the grass was so high.
No, it's been all cut off now.
Okay, so, but that needs to be maintained. It just can't let it grow, because then it becomes a code issue. You let it grow and it becomes unsightly. On top of it, there used to be beautiful landscaping in front, because you saw all of the stones there, and there's nothing there. And in addition, the trucks, I'm not sure if that's a code issue with having trucks being stored there. It is, so
Well,
it is.
we'll look into what the code says, and
Right.
if it's an issue, then the code enforcement department will address
Right.
it.
And then my other concern is that, and this is and I'm not certain how long you have owned the church.
So about 16 years, 17 years?
17 years. Okay, so, and this gets to what Commissioner Dorban was indicating. On the back fence, at one time, that was a synagogue. On the back fence, there is still reserved parking for the rabbi and the cantor. I don't know if you've left them there on purpose, but that gets to the lack of attention of maintenance on the building.
But we'll take it off. I mean,
No, but I understand you will, and that's all well and good, but it gets to the point of what we're trying to say, that it's greater, and we understand this is a steeple, but it's greater than that. We want the building to look attractive, and it really isn't. And if you've owned it for 16 years and those signs are still there, it points to a lack of attention to the overall facility. That's what we're saying.
Okay. We'll try to do a better job.
You know, you're part of this community, and we want you to be an integral part of this community, but things like that we see, I just can't understand it. Any other questions?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Powers, second by Commissioner Johnson. Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Powers votes yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanova?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Chairman Rafato?
Yes. Well, there's something for you to sign, sir. No wonder it was waiting. And I'm sure that the village code enforcement will be out there looking at that. Sign these. Oops, let me do it this way, it'd be easier for you to do. Thank you. Oh, that one's for you. Thank you. Calling docket number 2017-6, Dunshire, 370-400 West Dundee Road, concept review of mixed-use site plan, mixed-use planned unit development. Brooke, any comments?
Not at this time.
Okay, great. Mr. Hine? Would you please introduce yourself and who else will be speaking tonight?
Thank you. My name is Bill Hine from Bill Hine and Associates, 370 West Dundee Road, Wheeling. I'm the project manager for the Dunshire Dundee Commons project.
Good evening, John Moraby from Moraby and Associates. I represent the developer as well as the property owners.
Great, thank you.
MRAIBIE.
Mr. Hine, before we start, I just wanted to point out that we, as Plan Commission, just received this packet Tuesday night, and our normal procedures are that we get our completed package on Friday, and that we have time to review this. And we have not everyone was here in attendance when you presented this to the village board, and not all of us saw it even on TV or reviewed the video. But I saw it, I happened to see it, and I believe most of the Plan Commission has heard comments about what the village board had expected, and from what I understand tonight, and from what I saw in the meeting, this is the exact same thing that you presented to the village board, but the village board had made some pointed comments about some deficiencies. The concept was good, but some deficiencies in the plan. And Brooke, do you have those?
I do.
Can you read, can you
Sure.
tell me what those were and tell actually the Plan Commission members who maybe hadn't had an opportunity to
Sure.
review it?
I have a short list of the primary concerns of the village board when they reviewed this concept on May 15th. First, they asked that the petitioner increase the parking ratio of the row homes. Second, they asked that they address the shared parking among the mixed-use building. And finally, that they reconsider the density and/or site configuration of the row homes.
Okay, so with that said, you can give your presentation tonight, and the commission will make comments for you in this, and probably reiterate what was and reinforce what the village board indicated, but be prepared to come back for another concept review. Be prepared for that, because we need to see, we need proper amount of time to review this. So if you want to continue on with your presentation, please start.
I prefer to continue on and to give you our vision of the project that we are putting before you this evening, and taking the comments of the village board, which we have, and your comments, and working with staff to come back with a product that we all can live with. And I'm hoping that at the end of our conversation here this evening, that I will put some of those to rest today between myself and the attorney and our staff. Our entire staff is here. And through that process, make this a living.
Understood, understood, but please understand that we'll continue on. Continue on with your presentation.
Okay. On behalf of Maya Stravinsky and Laura Plotty, who are the owners of 400 Dundee Road, LLC, we are going to share with you this evening our vision and what we think would amount to a PUD in the transit-oriented development. The vision develops a lifestyle of world-class living in harmony with the makeover of the town center plan, enhancing residents' quality of life to align with the cultural shift in the Chicago area of how people want to live. Promote a new urban lifestyle that is connected to the community, pedestrian-friendly, less excessive, more sensitive to the environment, and within steps of the Wheeling Town Center. That being said, okay, I'd like to take you to an overall view of the area we're talking about, starting with the town center. And what happened here? I was told to use the other ones.
The scroll's the easiest thing.
Okay. Okay. We have to the west of us the Wheeling Station site, directly across from our site, which is 5 acres. And we are working with staff and the people from the station site to align streets and so on and so forth. And we're also trying to develop a plan that is going to be cohesive to the entire area. The property that we're looking at is 5 acres, but we are also working on the properties that are to the east of us all the way down to the post office in Community Boulevard. The 298 property, which is right next to Community Boulevard, will be in our possession by the middle of this coming month in June. And we are working on the other projects to make this a complete PUD consisting of almost 16 acres. That being said, we want to enjoy the amenities of the Wheeling Municipal Complex. Truly, the wonderful development that you're putting together with the Wheeling Town Center plan, and of course our award-winning Park District right behind the area here. I'm going to continue on to the site plan. And what it consists of is the project consists of a multi-unit building with retail and on the ground floor, single-family owner row homes. Dang, this thing is delicate. Single-family row homes development, 45 units, rear-loaded garages. A restaurant. We have an LOI on the restaurant right now in the west corner of the property with outside seating. Enclosed garages will be provided at the rear of the building. Above the first floor, there will be rental apartments, floors 2, 3, and 4. The apartments will be 1 and 2 bedroom units, and I'll discuss that a little bit as we go through the presentation. A common area along the Buffalo Creek for all the residents to enjoy will consist of gazebos, barbecues, garbage pits, picnic tables, and we'll talk about it a little later when we get into our parking situation.
This project is compatible with the comprehensive plan for the Village of Wheeling. It brings the highest and best use to the area that will now become the downtown of Wheeling. With the Metro train station, town center being built, this development is a will complement the village's desire to develop a transit-oriented district. The access road off of Northgate Parkway, Dunshire Drive, will eventually connect to Community Boulevard. All questions will be given our utmost attention. Your input is very important to us, and this is why we're here this evening to go through the whole program with you and pick up the highlights. This is the 4-story building with the 10,578 square feet of retail below. This is where the restaurant will be located. It has outside seating, and it will have a lounge area and be a full-service, family-oriented type restaurant. As you can see in the next slide, I hope, is the front of the building depicting some terraces above the retail area, and it truly gives a vision of what we are trying to complete here. The apartments above are going to range from about 678 square feet for the one-bedroom and various sizes up to a little over 1,200 square feet for the two-bedroom. These are rental apartments. They will enjoy all the amenities of our row home concept. And so we think that it's going to be a true version of the transit-oriented development program. On the first floor, you have the restaurant taking 2 spaces, another 1,300 square foot area. We have an LOI from a jeweler that will be moving into the complex, and we have additional spaces that we will be renting out. Behind this area here, we have garages set up that if anybody that wants a garage in the complex, as far as the 4-story building, they'll have that availability. This is a version of the type of row home we'll be putting up, and we'll be discussing with you at a later date relative to the amenities and the configuration and the types of materials that we'll be using. It has all brick in the front, and it has a siding on both ends and on the back. You know, being in the town center, we wanted to be a new experience for everybody. We want it to be a lifestyle open to the world of possibilities. The Dunshire, a Wheeling's newest luxury community, will unfold. You'll begin to experience a unique blend of big city living, small town ambience, and the Dunshire homes will provide the highest level of comfort, convenience this side of the Chicago skyline. We're looking forward to welcoming you home. These are just some of the shots that we took of the way we were going to be laying them out. We are going to be giving 3 different models, possibly 4 different renditions of this, so they can add their personal touch to it. All residents of the Dunshire row homes and apartments will have access to the Wheeling Park District Fitness Center. And when I say they have special access to it, what we're going to do is we're going to make an option available in their assessment. As you know, every type of development like this, they have an assessment. We will be putting an option in there where they can purchase at a discount rate through us, a family package, and enjoy all the amenities of the Wheeling Park District behind this particular building, including all the pools and the outside facility they have there and the pickle courts and so on and so forth. And if they want to enjoy some of the other programs that they have available, this will be all within their means because of the fact that we will be presenting, and this is our program. We're working it out with the Park District, and we will be presenting this to the people that come to visit in our model homes. This also includes Chevy Chase. It's a unique experience to be able to have this type of amenity in a community of this size. Our Park District is award-winning. It provides a lot of services, and we believe that being so close to that amenity, we should take full advantage of it. We're also looking at the possibility of doing something a little different, and that is providing a vehicle. And if I can find the picture, I'll be able to show you. This is called a neighborhood electric vehicle. It's legal on the street. It is licensed by the state of Illinois. And we can drive this particular vehicle on any Village of Wheeling street. They come in 2, 4, and 6-seater programs. We're going to make these available to our residents because, as you know, okay, they don't have to get on any major street to come up to all of the things that I've mentioned. But they could be using a vehicle like this, and we will be providing some of them as a courtesy to the residents that live at the Dunshire. Environmental friendly, it's electric, and I hope you guys will be seeing a few of these around, okay? Without further ado, I think I'm going to open it up to some questions. One of the things that you folks asked us to do was a marketing study relative to the marketplace here. And we've done a partial on the row homes for the vicinity. And it's a comparative market analysis of the entire area, and we'll be presenting that to you and to staff so that they can comprehend the marketability of our product. We have a wonderful location. We're within walking distance of the metro station. Of course, we got the movie theater coming into your complex, and you have the complex itself with 100,000 square feet of retail. So it's a truly wonderful development, and we want to be a part of it. So without any further questions, I just want to take you back to the site plan itself, because I'm sure we're going to have some discussion on it.
Thank you, Mr.
And I'm going to ask Mr. Anderson to come forward. Mr. Anderson is our engineer. He has been working on this project with us for a while, and I'm going to turn it over to him and give an explanation of it, and then we'll open it up for questions if you like.
My name's Mike Anderson from Hager Engineering. Offices at 100 East State Parkway in Schaumburg. From the last time that we were in front of you presenting this plan, the site area has expanded. There's an additional property to the east. And so that allowed the access onto Dundee to be shifted further east, which provides enough room to accommodate a left turn lane into the site, even after taking into account the expanded left turn lane that will be built for the Wheeling Town Center development. Also, the access on Northgate has been shifted, and we've coordinated with the developers of the Wheeling Station site that's presently being designed on the west side to make sure that we're aligning with their proposed access there. So those two access points have shifted. The other change, engineering-wise, since we've last seen you, is that the stormwater pipe that connects Heritage, the stormwater basin in Heritage Park is under construction. That's going to be brought up to Dundee Road. The village is presently designing the crossing for Dundee Road for that pipe. And so this site will have access to the stormwater credits that are available in Heritage Park. In terms of the site then, the main mixed-use building in the front of the site has also expanded. So it's east-west, a bigger building. The parking along the front has expanded as well. In the back, where the row home site is, this, as Bill mentioned, is a transit-oriented design focusing on pedestrian access. Excuse me. It's within a half mile of the train station, which is kind of the whole concept of a transit-oriented design development. And it's high density, which is another concept of the TOD developments. We've worked on similar style row home projects in Des Plaines, Park Ridge, Morton Grove, all in similar proximity to train stations. And this is very similar in style of building. Each of these units has a 2-car garage, and there's 16 guest parking spaces scattered throughout the row home site. That's kind of the big picture for engineering, and obviously here to answer any questions. Is that all we're going to? One more.
Just to address some of the issues that you had, that the board had brought up during the presentation. The parking ratio is well within the limits. Part of the problem with respect to the parking in the front, the board's position was that you've got commercial with residential. They didn't think that would work. You got to recall that they're commercial spaces. Most residential people are coming in after hours. So we believe that there's not going to be an issue. Additionally, the shared parking space can be alleviated by identifying the parking for commercial versus residential. As far as the parking ratios for the row homes, that came into play based off of staff recommendation. They wanted to see rear loading versus front loading, and we'll be working with staff to see if we can work with a mixture of rear loading and front loading, basically where the cars are located. If you take a look at, that's the other way. What you would have in this situation is a rear-loaded situation where the garages are located in behind. What you would have as a result of that is the loss of parking. By having a front-loaded situation where you have the parking garage in the front, you would also get a driveway with that, which would also gain you some additional parking spots. So we will be working with staff to sort of to work with them to see what mix we can have of front and rear-loaded, which would help alleviate some of the parking concerns that the board had, as well as possibility of the density concerns.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other comments from petitioners? Any other comments, Bill?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay. So again, we all haven't had a chance to review this in detail. As a matter of fact, I just downloaded this today because I've had things at work that I've had to do. So actually last night I did this. So Commissioner, let's start with Commissioner Powers.
Thanks. looking at the staff report, I guess is that a standard size streets in the townhome area and in the rear by the retention area? Are those standard streets? Because I saw a note that they're a little bit shorter than, it's like 26 feet versus a standard street's like 30 feet?
Yeah, so on the north side of the site, the east-west street, which will ultimately connect to Community Boulevard, that's right now designed at a 30-foot wide pavement, so that one does meet the village's width. Right now, the two north-south streets that go through the row home site are designed at 25 feet back-to-back. So, adding a couple feet to those to bring them into the village standard width is absolutely something we can incorporate.
Because I'm trying to compare this to something, I think we had at our last meeting, we had another development come to us with a concept review. And I guess another question I want to ask is, have you had a chance to take this plan and go to the fire department to look at turning radiuses and stuff like that?
I don't think this plan has gone through that review yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Can you explain to me again
But it should be pointed out that will be done.
of course, you'll need to take that into consideration. Can you explain to me again the row homes? I know I have a concern too that if the driveways were like in the back, you talked about front loading and rear loading, so are you saying that if it's front loaded, the garage and the entrance is in the front, and then you can allow for a bigger driveway versus like what's being showed here? Is this considered all rear loading as far as row homes?
So what we're showing in this plan are all rear loaded. So
Okay.
the back of the units is called the motor court area. There's an alley, driveway, apron, but there's no traditional driveway, storage in front of the garage. So we have an alley, 4-foot aprons, and garage doors. That's the back of the unit. The front of the unit then was shown in the renderings, and that's just the front doors, sidewalk connections, and so that's where traditionally the guest entrance.
So your intent is to try to work with that to get it front loaded, so you're going to get a little bit more room to store cars in the driveway along with the cars that would be in the garages too?
Exactly. So if the front load townhomes, I'm not sure how many developments are in Wheeling right now that have rear load. They're kind of a unique product, but certainly they're front load townhomes in the village. Garage in the front, next to the front door, driveway. Traditionally a 20-foot driveway in front of those.
Okay, and when you presented to the village board, you also, and I didn't hear it this time, did you mention, believe you did mention banquet hall, didn't you? Some kind of banquet facility in there? Is that still in your plan?
That would be part of the restaurant, so let me get to that. It's basic, it's not your traditional, when we say banquet, it's more of a private, a little more private setting, private room sort of situation, but it would be part of the restaurant pad here in the 4280 that they're committed to at this point.
And then in the rendering you had, you will have outdoor seating there too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That would be
right over there
in this section over here.
Okay. And I know you show in the row homes, you show siding, you show brick in the front and siding on the back. Any idea what type of siding that is in the side?
It's going to be sort of mixed stone. What you see is brick, natural stone down here.
What about up by the windows there on the side?
This would be siding.
Aluminum, hardy board?
It would be a cost factor that would have to be run, but basically between hardy board and aluminum siding.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see aluminum. I mean, that is on the corner, and I think the developments around there are using something a little bit more than aluminum, so I would hope we wouldn't see that.
It goes back to what the end product can sell for.
That's fine.
We can make this with all limestone, and it would raise the price to a point where it wouldn't sell. So it's got to fit. We understand what you're stating is.
Right.
It's got to fit the atmosphere, but it's also financially it has to make sense as well.
Okay. The board raised a concern about the parking. I'm hoping that if you do go with the front-loaded parking, that alleviates some of the concern with people and visitors to possible row homes. If there's any overflow parking, and it's like during the day that they're going to, want to creep into the retail space. I think one of the trustees mentioned, some other situations we have in the village where, you could try to handle it with signage, but that doesn't work very good. I'm just saying, I think parking's still going to be an issue. Hopefully it'll be alleviated a little bit with the front loading, but signage, I mean, people are going to park where they're going to park. I think it's going to really be hard to control it.
It's going to make a dramatic change by having the front loading, because now you're basically taking it from 2 parking spaces to approximately 4. So it's a huge difference.
Okay. I mean, the density was, was specified too. I still think it's dense, but those are the comments I have right now. I just had the same concerns, basically, that were raised by the board, and threw a few of my own in, and right now that's all I have.
Understood. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Well, on the subject of density, what is the factor that this comes out to,
Let the engineer.
As presented, the current site is, I can do math, 84 residential units on a 5-acre site.
I can't do math.
84 divided by 5 is
I have that calculated at 16.8.
16.8
Yeah.
per acre.
And down the road, when you're talking about acquiring the other properties, or you are close to acquiring the one, and you go all the way down to Community Boulevard, what kind of density are we talking about there? Are we packing them in just as tight all the way down there? Or?
Not necessarily, because once we have the additional space, further amenities would be added. We would have the additional room to add in additional amenities for the complex. But you would basically have a commercial similar situation that would be facing Community Boulevard as it extends out here, and then possibly a clubhouse or some sort of community facility protecting the residentials.
So you're looking at additional retail?
The retail would basically
front?
be perpendicular, or parallel to Community Boulevard.
Oh, that way, okay.
Correct, with a community building that would buffer Dundee from the residences behind it.
Okay. Well, until you get to that point, I still see accessibility issues with this site. You're at the 2 extreme corners. Is there any way they would allow you to do a right-only out of the front of the retail?
The problem with
Further
doing
west?
that is, if you may recall, when we previously came in, we were looking at a restaurant pad in the corner with some retail and
And a drive-through?
Correct. And the concern and what transpired thereafter was we had a driveway around here.
Right.
And due to the problem and the extended parking, left turn lane, we were only able to get a right turn lane out of the property. And when you had prospective tenants coming in and it was shopped around, it was forwarded from the village as far as prospective tenants, and we pursued those particular tenants. The concern always came up, well, we can't get a left turn out. And what ended up happening is your turn lane came all the way down to here. In order to go left and a right, it shifted all the way to here, and it shifted all the way down to here.
Right, I understand that, but I'm
That
just
left-
wondering if we can add a right only towards the western end of that onto Dundee.
That would be something that we can discuss with staff. Go ahead.
It's not going to happen on Dundee.
Okay,
It's IDOT's jurisdiction, and we've kind of been reviewing that with them. A secondary access on Northgate, a limited access, may be feasible. That's a village jurisdictional road. But on Dundee, in this configuration, we're just going to get that one location.
okay. I still see that as an issue, but we'll see how it all comes together.
I might add to that just for a second. As you know, we're housed at the 370 building, and that's approximately where that access would be. We've noticed a remarkable change in making a left turn out of our building right now because of the stoplights here. It has really, really helped. We have no problem whatsoever coming out and make a left turn.
Okay. Let's see, we talked about that. What about the floodplain, floodway issues?
So the site has shallow floodplain on it. As I mentioned, there's in Heritage Park, the village has a regional detention facility and compensatory storage. And so there'll be a large storm sewer that's constructed up down the east side of the Wheeling Town Center site. That, I think, may even be in the ground now, if not under construction. So the compensatory storage for the floodplain fill that'll happen here and the stormwater detention would all be provided off-site through credits through the village.
Yeah, because you're not showing any retention, detention
Yep.
at all on this.
Correct. And, the Heritage Park stormwater basin was designed so that the service area up in this location, could use that stormwater volume that's available there for credits. It's just a matter of getting it there. And so that was the function of this large storm sewer going down there.
Any idea on what the percentage of green space is in this proposal?
I'm sorry, I don't have that. I don't have that
Okay.
right now.
Well, we'll want that with the
Sure.
preliminary. Excuse me. As far as the materials, I think you're aware that we're not big on just siding. We'd like to see as much masonry as we can get, so keep that in mind. And we'll need elevations of the backside of the retail and the backside of the row homes, just to have a complete picture. Sure. The parking for the apartments, how many garage spaces do you have versus the number of apartments?
There's 39 apartments. There are 18 garage spaces. The plan, as presented here, with the garage spaces and the surface spaces around the mixed-use building, there's about 120 spaces altogether. And so the way that works out is about 1.7 parking spaces per apartment unit, which I think is similar to what was approved at the Wheeling Town Center apartments, and leaving the retail with a ratio of approximately 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet on the net retail area.
And all the row homes were two-car garages, you said?
Yes. And, one more thing about the row homes is one of the benefits of them is it hides all the garage doors. So the facade that you're seeing is, you're not seeing a row of garage doors.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Commissioner Dorban.
Thank you. Well, I certainly think that it's too dense, for one. I'm a little concerned, have you put together a snow removal plan, for snow storage? Because this is, as dense as this is, and even if you have then, even if they're rear loaded, you're going to have to find places for snow, and I'm not seeing that here.
We'll be taking advantage of the area that you see to the north, in the green area up there, and we're going to be providing access for our snow plows and everything. As you know, in this type of a complex, and as we see when we do have snow here, most of the snow can be removed by anything up to a 3/4 ton pickup type truck with a 8-foot plow on it. And we'll be able to put that and store that up in the northern part up there on the other side of Dunshire Lane. We'll be
You're talking
using
about removing the snow from the property itself?
moving it itself.
Yeah, is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about staying on our property and moving the snow and store and clearing the parking areas, okay, and using that area up there, which is.
Sorry, not to interrupt. If you take a look at your screens, it would be basically stored up into this area. Obviously, making sure to avoid the additional parking spots that would be located here.
That's a lot of place to move a snow and move it all the way back there. You're asking a lot.
That would be around the residential area. The commercial area obviously would have to be in and around the commercial spots.
It is very dense, and if I'm reading our code correctly, Brooke, please correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that this is 16.8, but don't I read that our maximum density is like 14?
Well, this is a mix of uses. We have row homes, apartments, and also retail. So when we say 16.8 units per acre, that is 16.8 plus almost 11,000 square feet of retail. So this is not an apples to apples comparison to a completely all residential subdivision.
Okay. I also think that I'm really concerned about the fire department, their access here, getting in and out. I'm sure that the fire department will have plenty to say and certainly advise us as well. I don't know. And the size of the units are just exactly within our code, just exactly. I would like to see those made a little bigger. I think that your argument about the selling price or the rental price, a little bigger unit, I think you can afford to make them bigger and get a little more money. As far as the siding, I don't know if aluminum is the best choice, but I would certainly rather see vinyl. I think vinyl has a better life expectancy than aluminum. And I really, really am concerned about the density. And I think certainly there's a lot of tweaking for you to do before we can ever really seriously think about this, as far as I'm concerned anyway. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Blanova.
Well, there are a lot of concerns, but at the same time, maybe I mean, I didn't have enough time to think it through, but at the same time, maybe if, just a suggestion, maybe if we push couple buildings on that green area, and that would create bigger space, I guess. But at the same time, maybe divide commercial, retail building from those townhouses or row houses. If we're thinking about deliveries for those retail spaces, it just, I don't see it happening. That green area, it will block it. There is no way to turn. It depends how big of a truck. And I'm not even talking about the fire truck, garbage truck. It's just impossible. Maybe like just move a little bit towards that green area. That will kind of create more space without cutting the square footage or cutting those buildings or anything like that.
You know, with the advent of doing a mix with the front-loaded and rear-loaded, okay, we're going to be able to create more green area. We're going to be able to add more parking spaces. The streets will be a little wider. And by having all rear-loaded, okay, we lost over 90 parking places from when we had it all open, front-loaded, 90 parking places when we were working on the plans. And when we were asked by staff to do rear-loaded, we lost 90 parking places. So by recovering that, by doing a mix of both rear-loaded and front-loaded, we're going to be able to do a much better workable plan. And at that point, we had even talked to the fire chief and had meetings with him and so on and so forth. He's given us all the specs for his engines, even the big one, the big ladder truck, so that we can work out. He gave us a detailed plan to work into the project. So that'll be handled in the next phase.
You also mentioned that the bigger building with the garage. You also mentioned the renters, whoever decide to rent the apartment, will have an option to rent a space in that garage.
Correct.
And if decide not to, they probably will be parking on that with the
They'd
outside.
either be parking in this location, or around here.
Okay.
Good point. And just to answer your concern, you'd stated, what if we actually built back a little bit more towards here? You can't build back here, this is part of the floodplain. So we had originally incorporated that into our plans and laid this out completely different. And due to the fact that it is located in the floodplain, we couldn't, and therefore we've incorporated that and kept that as a green space with some additional parking in the back. And do realize that there is, so the concept or the idea would be, this would be a continuation of Community Boulevard that would continue here and then terminate over here at the end. So it alleviates some of the traffic through there. This is also buffered out. This would be a driveway, a drive-through basically, or a street through the complex as well.
Just a bigger, not just sit, a bigger truck. There is no way for that big car to turn from Dundee.
You're also not, I mean, it also goes and depends on what kind of commercial that you're getting in there. Obviously, this is more of a community situation. We would be looking to have tenants that would service the row homes as well as service the apartments above it. Don't forget, you have almost 125,000 square feet of retail space, going in between the station and the city center. So your tenants at this particular location are going to be very focused on the area that they're in.
God, well, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech.
Thank you. I guess I have the same questions as everyone else as far as density. I was wondering why the density of the townhouses / row houses, why that wouldn't be separate from the commercial when you're figuring density. My other thing would be, of course, the parking's a problem. I think the trustees spoke about that, especially the mixed-use parking for the commercial area. The widening of the roads or the spaces in between the rear loading garages. I kind of like the rear loading garages, actually, but it seems to me that you would need a little bit more space in between those buildings. As far as Community Boulevard is concerned, that's going to continue all the way down to the post office at some time, and is that going to be built according to Wheeling specifications?
It will be a private street
Yes.
within the complex, okay? And right now, we've got it marked for about 30 feet.
So is it going to have street lights and such like the rest of the village?
We'll have the proper signage and everything. There'll be some speed bumps involved and everything, so we don't have them flying through there.
When you put together this new plan, did you put together the rest of the plan or phase two? Because it's kind of, it would be nice to see how these two are going to blend. Is that going to be brought back to us when you return?
Yeah, it would.
'Cause you're talking about clubhouses and
Yeah.
more green space and everything else.
That-
It sounds wonderful, but I see that you changed it quite a bit from your original presentation.
Right.
Or actually what the picture I see earlier on. I was just wondering how the whole thing blends.
And, I mean, in terms of this site, what we're providing is, the access. We have two east-west connectors into the land to the east. In terms of the land plan to the east, those access roads will kind of define the geometry of it, but the layout of it is still underway.
Well, the other thing I'd like to see when you come back is elevations for everything. Front, rear, sides, floor plan with dimensions, and of course, the final site plan would be great. Other than that, I think it's
We'll be taking
certainly
that
have a
up.
lot of possibilities with
Right.
this.
We'll be taking that up when we go through the preliminary process. And then we'll have to have all the site, all the elevations, floor plans, and so on and so forth.
Brooke, would you like to?
Yes, I'd like to clarify. Right now, the petition is only for what you see on the screen. It is for this 5 acres adjacent to Northgate and Dundee here. The property to the east is not under their control, so they cannot present a plan for that right now. And you will not be reviewing that during the preliminary or final PUD process of this phase. They will have to come back with a new concept for us to review and go through that entire PUD process at that time.
I understand that, but, the two are tied together. So, I mean, how can you decide on this alone without the rest of the site?
You have
I
to
an issue.
decide
I have a
if
problem
this
with that.
merits approval based upon this plan solely. Because there's not a guarantee that the property to the east will be developed under their control.
Can I
Well,
ask a question why
then-
you're asking the same question too? But didn't I understand that the trustees said that they wanted both parcels?
Yes, they would like to see.
Isn't that what you're referring to?
No.
I think that's everyone's plan ultimately, but if it's not in the cards because it's not under their control, it cannot be guaranteed.
So like
I'm
one.
sorry to jump in.
No, so the idea is that with this process, you'd have to know that you would be approving this without the guarantee of the second phase. So you have to like this look at it as a standalone in a way.
Okay.
Just to sort of answer and kind of bring that up, If you look out, that's basically the second phase would be right out our window. Problem is, we don't own all these parcels. There's parcels that are owned by, I believe, 2 or 3 different entities that have to be dealt with. One of the parcels, which is the vacant one that abuts Community Boulevard, is in litigation. There's a foreclosure sale that is occurring middle of next month. Hopefully, we'll be able to lock that one down. Then we have to kind of go down the road and deal with everybody else. But once again, dealing with everybody else sort of depends on this. If we don't have an approval on this, there's no need for us to purchase anybody else. We can't build anything here that makes sense for both the village as well as the developer, then there's no need to really continue on with it. The other thing that you're going to have to deal with is the greedies. So the person that's in the middle understands that, hey, I'm purchasing everybody else.
If you could speak into the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought it was picking up. What you have is a situation where people are going to take advantage of the situation. So they notice that we are developing and purchasing over there and developing and purchasing here, and all you need is one person that says, I want $1 million. Now that whole project, that second phase falls apart. So what we're coming in and asking for today and in the future is what we have under our control and the ability to deal with. The only parcel that's missing from this is a city-owned parcel, and we're working with, with the village to purchase that at a fair market price.
That's for this,
Correct.
right now,
For
you're
this
still waiting on
location.
one parcel?
We own everything except one parcel. And the only parcel that we don't have is a village-owned parcel.
Well, I guess it gets back to the same argument then. If you're presenting this as 2 phases, and you're just asking us to approve a standalone for right now, well, I think it's a great idea as far as putting these townhouses and row houses in commercial, and it's perfect for, you know, what we're looking for this site. So just like we want wider roads and more parking and more masonry and a lot of other things to get done for this project, you know, conceptually, you're putting row houses in commercial.
Correct.
So we have to see what you bring back.
You got to also understand in that we have every desire to continue this project. The developer, the landowner are in it to develop this property. They're going to make a profit with respect to that. So if the ability to continue on with a similar style, it's all going to be market driven. If the row homes are all sold in 30 days, we're going to start constructing that second phase once it's under our control pretty quickly and going through the process.
But you're asking us to approve this, and then you might not build the rest of it. So, you know, we have to approve exactly what you're doing here.
We're seeking an approval on this, correct? Because we cannot guarantee that we will be able to acquire the rest of the parcels that are needed for the second phase.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Well, I have a couple of comments, and I assume your team received the memo from the memorandum that was in our packet.
We did.
You did, and I'm extremely disappointed that from the time the village board meeting and to a concept review by us, that obvious changes weren't made to this plan before they came to us for a concept review. Because this is such a radically different plan than you came to us before, that I would have expected something more than just the plan that came before us now. And before this goes any further, I want to see the changes that were incorporated, that were asked for, and it's fairly obvious, and the density, the residential density is actually greater than what we said, 16, because you've got retail space there too. So you're taking 5 acres and, what is it, 10,000 or 11,000?
Almost 11.
Almost 11,000 square feet of retail, and you're taking that out of the mix, and you've got actually more density than what we originally said, 10,780. So, and then, it's fairly obvious that when the village board makes a comment that the row home development is too dense, streets are narrow, parking is limited, there's very little open space, consider the use of masonry, that in a concept review that we don't even get those changes. We don't even get that in front of us as we're reviewing this. And obviously, we can talk until, we can talk for hours about the parking, and I happened to watch the meeting that night, and one of the comments that Commissioner Dorban made about the whole thing, and Commissioner Creech was making, that was from Trustee Brady. And again, the parking, the residential parking where the retail is, I don't know how you can tell somebody, if somebody's even having a small banquet with 150 people, that could conceivably be 150 cars coming by themselves. And then you've got residential, and you have to tell them, no, you can't, don't come in now because we've got a banquet coming on. All of that needs to really be reviewed. This is such a radical change from what you brought to us before, that anything I would like to see, all of those things incorporated, come back to us, and we workshop this again, and then we move forward. Commissioner Dorban?
Are you done?
I think for now, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to also make a comment on that banquet parking issue, because I thought about that, and I thought that they could conceivably take up a lot of parking, so that could be an issue. The other thing is, a traffic study obviously will have to be done.
Right, in concept.
And I just want to make sure I understand, because I'm a little confused maybe, that the 2 parcels, there are the one parcel you have control of. The other one, you said it is in 3 pieces, but you have control over 2 of them, but the village owns the 3rd parcel, and you don't have control of that?
No, I think I can clarify that. So this parcel, they have under all their control, except a piece of it is a village-owned piece. So of the one you're looking at.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
thank you for that
And
clarification.
then the next one, the potential phase 2, they don't have all under their control. It's under several different entities. They're hoping to acquire one of them with this foreclosure that was mentioned. But the village-owned parcel is part of the plan you're looking at.
Okay, because that was not clear. So the other parcel, I would like to know, of the other parcel, how many pieces of that do you control at this time?
0.
You
There's
don't,
litigation pending with respect to, I believe,
298, which
Pardon
is
me?
the parcel next to Community Development Drive.
so you don't have any control of anything at this time on those, and there's 3 parcels basically,
More
correct?
than 3 parcels, I believe it's 4 or 5 parcels.
Okay, so, and you don't have control of any of them?
We do not have control. There is pending litigation as relates to the vacant lot right over here next to Community Boulevard, right there.
And do you have
Sorry.
do you have, do you have an estimated date when you might have control of any of these pieces?
The first parcel, which would be going to foreclosure on June 10th or 15th, we would be able to, at that point in time, provided that we're successful on the foreclosure, to control that parcel.
So that would be one of the 5?
It would be 1 out of 4,
One out of,
correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's 4 parcels
4
in that additional,
Correct. Correct.
Okay. And you possibly will have control of one of those 4. What about the remaining?
Remainder is, one is also in pending litigation, and the other 2, I believe, are private owners.
Correct.
And it's my understanding, even if, you know, a parcel is in the middle and somebody's holding out for the most amount of money, generally, there are attorneys who talk with these people and explain that this is the going rate. And most times they can work with these folks to get them to sell it.
Correct.
At a price that is agreeable to both. Am I not correct?
Absolutely. But once again, that would be in ideal situations. These are third parties. We don't control these third parties. They can just demand outrageous pricing. At that point in time, obviously, we would try to seek the assistance of the village and try to go about it different ways where fair market value would be paid for it, yes.
Exactly.
Just to put a little light on the situation relative to the litigation and what we're going through here, okay, the piece that we're talking about at 298, okay, there's an awful lot of litigation going on for this, okay, and we bought positions out to put ourselves in position to be a major player in this whole thing. That being said, we don't know, okay, down the line, like our attorney just said, the people that own the tool over there, okay, I mean, it's a fair appraisal, you know, you're not going to get blown out of the water because of nickels and dimes. So, but it's interesting that 298 has a big influence on 360. It's a part of that same big dark cloud that's up there. The attorneys know that, okay, so we're working our way through that process. And when you're in court and doing all these things, it's all the legal maneuvering to get it in position so that we can do that.
And just to make sure I understand again, the parcel that is showing up here, that will all be completed at the same time. We're not talking about phases at all.
No,
That's correct.
that is correct.
Okay, okay. That's all I have, sorry.
No? Good comments. Commissioner Powers, you had a comment?
Yeah, one more thing, stormwater retention, I think you're kind of under the impression, or are you under the impression that all of your stormwater is going through the pipe into Lake Heritage?
That's what's contemplated for this
Okay,
site.
because at the meeting, you know, there was a statement made, I think by trustee Papantos, that it's like you only have so much that could be pushed in there. And I would hope that you would not make that type of assumption and would do some kind of planning for some on-site retention, whether it be in the green area or possibly go to some type of underwater retention underground, because I believe the development on the west side of Northgate, I think they are doing some underground well retention. So please make sure you look at that and don't make an assumption that everything is going into Lake Heritage, because it may not be what you're allowed to do.
Understood, absolutely. We'll work that out with engineering.
That's it.
Are there any other comments?
No.
Comments? Any comments? Yes.
Yes, just to sort of clear the air, our package was sent into the village.
That's, you know, and I've been through that. I completely understand, and I've heard it, and I understand, but I'm extremely disappointed that you had enough time to do that and to incorporate at least the village changes into this. Into this plan. I'm sorry, but.
And if I may address that.
Sure.
The board made certain recommendations. We didn't have the ability to come and sit down with staff and discuss those particular issues before we reincorporated. The last thing we wanted to do is show one thing to the board, show another thing to you guys.
You could have waited. You could have waited until you got all of those things done.
And we were looking to get your input
That's
into
fine.
it so we can streamline our process and try to incorporate everybody's changes in this. Because obviously, the board has certain changes that they're looking for. There are
No,
also additional
we're all one
concerns.
village here. We're
I
all one
underst-
village, and we try to work in concert. And
Absolutely.
in most cases, when they go to a concept, and we have this question about the tacit approval from the village board when you go to them first. And we're working through those issues. But I can tell you, this is probably the only time that a concept went before the village, and they made suggestions that the petitioners didn't go back, make those changes, and then come back to us with the updated view. And the path that you took, probably in our eyes, probably wasn't the right path to take.
For that, we do apologize. We thought we would present the same thing so that there was no confusion. The changes will be incorporated based on what we believe can be accomplished and based on the recommendations and the comments that were given by the board as well as yourselves.
So, and then you come back to us.
That's
and-
fair.
And we'll go through those.
Absolutely.
Great.
I think
I
Mr.
also
Hein.
think there was a comment made about, where you stuck on the name.
Oh, the name, I think trustee Lang made the comment as it relates to the Dunshire. I think it was trustee Lang.
It was trustee Lang.
Yeah, the name, we're very open to it. We're not attached to the Dunshire. We're not attached to Dunshire Drive. We're not attached to any of that. And that was the same comment and response that I gave to him. For sake of continuity, we just kept that for right now. We're going through different names. We're open to the board's suggestion or the committee's suggestion as to a name. We're not attached to the Dunshire whatsoever.
Okay.
I have no creativity. So just for clarification, you're coming back to us, you're coming back to us for a concept review again. That's what we're looking for you to do.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Any other comments? Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Hein.
Yes. When you're asking to workshop us again, do we have a date when you were able to do that?
When you're comfortable with all the changes at least minimally, the changes that the village board wanted minimally would be, that you can do that, and then you can work with staff to put that in there. I mean, we have our second and fourth Thursday opens, that we've got a calendar, we've got an agenda that you can put it in there.
I can understand your position and wanting more information. But as you know,
So, okay.
we've been here all a long time. And
But you've come to us with a radically different proposal than the first time. Actually, this is probably the third
Yes, it is.
proposal here
Yes,
that
it
we've
is.
seen. So,
Yes, it is.
and what I'll do is I'll take a poll here to ask them if we want another workshop with you, a concept review, and then that will be it. That's what we want to see.
I just
Okay.
have one more thing to say.
Sure.
And then you,
Sure.
when I attended the station plan, I was here for that, okay? A much larger project than this, okay? I believe they came here and got your approval and went into, they're now working on a preliminary.
I wasn't.
There was,
yeah, that's
there
right.
was,
I wasn't
there was
here for that one.
there was no holdback, no nothing, okay? And their presentation didn't even come close to the amount of information that we gave. So I have to live with what you people say,
Right.
okay?
Exactly.
But I must voice my opinion.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Hein. Thank you. Any comments?
No, sir.
Are you taking a poll?
Sure, I can take a poll. Commissioner Creech, we're looking for another concept review, another workshop with them.
I agree.
Commissioner Dorban,
At least one more.
Yeah, I think we should be able to
At
do
the
it.
very least.
Commissioner Powers?
Yes, and I've seen the concept review change between board and planning commission, so yes, we need to see it.
Commissioner Blanova?
Yes, I agree.
And Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, especially since we only had 2 days to look at this.
Yep.
Let's not have that happen again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Approval of minutes, May 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? You know, though, I did see, we had Commissioner Zangara's absent. I don't think he was absent, he had resigned.
I think when roll call was done, he was just absent.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Okay, thank you.
By the time it was over with, he had
He had
resigned.
resigned. Okay, thank you. Other business. That was a quick resignation, I guess, huh? Other business, Brooke.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Johnson.
Nothing.
Commissioner Blanova.
No, nothing, sir.
Commissioner Powers.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Dorban.
Nothing.
Commissioner Creech.
With the rest of the group, nothing.
I do. Commissioner Dorban, I had it as a note. Commissioner Dorban has asked on a number of occasions to ensure that we get scheduled a drive around. And can you give us a update on that, Brooke?
Yes, I have contacted the airport, and they have graciously offered to make their van available to us to do that this summer. I'm working with Andrew Jennings, the director, to schedule a feasible time, and also we're looking for your input on anything in particular you would like to see. I mean, we can definitely schedule a tour based on new development, but if there's anything else you have questions about, we would love to incorporate that into our tour.
Comments? Comments?
No, I would like to see us do a fire department tour also.
Yes, we are investigating that
Okay,
with
cool.
the fire department.
I would like to see some of the new developments, and especially some of the reuse of properties, such as, it's not new, but we talked about the place behind the pizza manufacturer where we have now rental spaces, things like that. And then, some of the newer signages that we have done, I'd like to see that. And
FedEx is pretty nice property, too. On the one we put in on,
oh, yes, yeah.
that new one, the whole, that's.
And
a good
is
one.
there any way that we can get access to the Wheeling Town Center to see what they're doing in there?
Don't think so.
There's
Okay,
there's
after
not much to look
construction
at
site.
now.
Dirt?
A lot of
dirt.
dirt. We can walk up on the hill and look
Okay.
at it.
Right. So, yeah, I think things like that I'd like to see.
I saw it from the Park District parking lot.
Ah,
It's just dirt.
okay. That's all I had. Mallory, Mary, anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
One other comment, I thought the meeting Monday night with the board was very good, very informative. I like having those, and they were good to have. Thank you.